Forward TV. The world is thinking.
The second point I agree with him is that capitalism has been prone to crisis again and again. But so have most other systems been as well. And the difference so far, at least in the last 200-300 years history of capitalism, is capitalism has survived its crises. Many feudal economies succumbed under the pressure of their crises. Socialism certainly has collapsed in the Soviet Union under pressure of crisis. So the fact that capitalism has survived crisis is, I think, something which we should understand is what gives it strength. Now, why have capitalist economies survived crises? I think the fundamental reason is really liberal democracy. The fact that most successful capitalist economies work within the framework of a liberal democracy creates internal checks and balances. So what are in the current context when everybody is worried about the crisis, I think the three simple lessons that we should draw from the experience of capitalism are summed up in three proverbs, which I learned as a student, very typical English proverbs. One, a stitch in time saves 9. 2, don't cry over spilt milk. And 3, don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. I think if you look at the last crisis that England was enveloped by, I was mentioning in the earlier session, that Keynes, who brought not just Britain but the entire Western world out of a crisis, was seen as a savior. In many ways, when I was teasing Martin Wolf earlier this afternoon, that when I see him on the front page of FT every morning holding forth on the solutions to the problem, I'm reminded of, a guru. Every morning we have, I don't know if you have here, but we have religious channels. Every morning you have these gurus coming and giving you religious advice, do your yoga, do your exercise, pray to God. I think economists are today the saviors of the current phase, just as Keynes was. And I think that is the strength of capitalism, that it has been able to create social psychoanalysts. Like each of us in a crisis goes to a doctor, capitalism has been able to produce its doctors. And I think that is what has helped the system every time it gets into, just like each of us have illnesses. We know how to live a healthy life, and yet you have influenza, you have coughs and colds, you have a flu or whatever. But the difference is that you know how to solve the problem. And I think that is the real appeal of the system, that it has been able to create an internal dynamic that sustains itself, and a science of its functioning that enables us to correct those mistakes.